Well, we are less than 2 weeks away from the second GOP debate, and some candidates are scrambling to qualify for their spot on the stage. But there's a chance that some of the candidates won't even make the cut after the RNC upped the requirements. The top candidate, former President Donald Trump, well, he signaled he won't attend either, making the debate another showdown of the party's alternatives. Joining us now to talk about it more is 538's Geoffrey Skelley. So, Geoffrey, glad you're with us. You know, the RNC has upped the ante here. What changed with regard to requirements for this debate, and why do you think they made the changes?
Well, I suspect that, like the DNC in the 2020 cycle for Democrats, you know, the thought is that candidates need to show a greater ability to get donors and a higher level of support in polls. So the big change, I think, was that the RNC has raised the level of support candidates need in the polls from 1% to 3%. So now they need either 2 national polls at 3%, or they need 1 national poll at 3% and 2 early state polls, so like Iowa, New Hampshire, at 3%. They also raised, not too much, but they raised the number of unique donors each candidate needs to attract from 40,000 to 50,000.
So as it now stands, right, some candidates definitely won't make the cut. So who met the polling and donor threshold, and who's still trying to make it?
Right. So besides Donald Trump, who definitely has the polls and donors, but looks like he's not going to show up, we have Ron DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy, Nikki Haley, Tim Scott, Mike Pence, and Chris Christie are the 6 who have qualified for the debate based on the information that we have. 2 other candidates seem within shouting distance, and that's Doug Burgum and Asa Hutchinson. But they, I think, especially are going to need a lot of help on the polling front because they have struggled to get close to 3%, much less get 3% in surveys so far.
So we saw candidates, you know, make some pretty creative efforts to make the last debate stage, right, including giving gift cards to donors. What do you think some of the lagging candidates are going to do, or have they already done something to try and meet those requirements?
Yeah, so I think the challenge this time around is that the polls are maybe the major hurdle. You know, getting 1% versus getting 3% actually is a significant jump if you're not polling very well to begin with. So that has led, I think, candidates and their supporters to maybe take more traditional means of trying to raise their profiles. So, for instance, Asa Hutchinson has been campaigning in some states that aren't voting early to try to sort of attract more attention in other places outside of, say, at Iowa or New Hampshire or South Carolina. And then a super PAC that is supporting Doug Burgum has actually spent a few $1 million on ads over the next few weeks, well, now at this point, less than 2 weeks to go for the debate, but since late August to try to raise his national profile as well.
All right. Well, clearly, Trump's going to sit this one out. He's said he's got big numbers. Why show up? How do you think that's going to continue to impact just the dynamic of these debates?
Yeah, so at the first debate, I think we saw the sort of dynamic I kind of expect to see for the second, which is candidates making sort of both the case why they would be a good leading alternative without necessarily saying it quite that way, but also talking about the direction they think the Republican Party should move in. Obviously, some of the candidates may take more of a Trumpy line on things, say like a Ron DeSantis or a Vivek Ramaswamy, versus other candidates who may be trying to go maybe more of a middle route, like a Nikki Haley, maybe a Tim Scott, and then, you know, candidates who have been more outwardly anti-Trump, say like a Chris Christie, most obviously. So, you know, to some extent, I think it's going to be sort of that leading alternative case that they're trying to make. And then also, where does the GOP go from here? And we saw, you know, a pretty substantive conversation among the candidates at the first debate. And I suspect we might get that again.
All right. Geoffrey Skelley, thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.